Let me check the targeted podcast and know what's going on YouTube in a sec. I just want to make sure the event does what I want it to do because I want the event to, like, if you click on the event, then you're going into like the stream automatically, right? So
It says we're live. So
well, on YouTube,
on Facebook.
yeah.
Well, I never checked the YouTube one.
Yeah. I just want the event that we have going on to say that yes, we're live. Like
It says we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me look at the event right now and just make sure that says perfect. That's what I wanted. All right. So if you click inside the Facebook event, you'll see like us.
Yeah.
Like, which is what I want, right?
Yeah.
So this way, like, if I invite someone to the event, they don't have to like click somewhere else to get it. They just go to the event, and then you can see our faces, our beautiful faces, our beautiful faces. All right, welcome to the Targeted Podcast. I am Sahid. That is Nicholas.
Handsome. Dude, I'm never gonna freaking change every week.
It's all
rename.
good.
I gotta do it because it's bothering me now. All right. Yeah. Rat bastard.
Yeah. No, welcome. So yeah, we got some shit that we're going to today. Yeah, I was talking to Nicholas about like we actually went through had our get together, and I don't get out the house much. I mean, got out the house a couple times this month, so had some friends. I went over to their place. Had to get together there at their place, and then I went to our boy Edo's place, right? So shout out to Edo. Edo, phenomenal cook, right? Got to talk to him. Talking to the wives, which is actually very entertaining.
Always.
Yeah. So
since you have to clean up your act a little bit when when the wives are in attendance.
I knew like, because what happened was I found myself like just sitting alone with like, the wives while everyone else is outside. I was like, oh shit. And I was like, you know what? Just like opportunity to learn a little bit more about my college. Yeah. And then I was gonna be a dick about it because I like being a dick. And they're like Edo and Omar like asked like, so what do you guys talk about? It's like, oh, I'm knowing everything about you guys and I'm knowing all the secrets. And they're like, oh shit. So I was like, no, we're not saying anything, which they didn't, by the way. But our boy Edo, he survived a war, right? He survived the Bosnian War, which is in the early 90s. And
he knows something about what those people are going through over there, man. Yeah. He knows something about that for sure.
Yeah. So he like if you go to his place, like he has like a lot, he buys in bulk a lot, but that's from his experience, right? To buy in bulk. So
guy had all the paper towels and toilet paper you would ever need in this life and the next.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, so no, he but also him going through those experiences affects their sense of humor, right? So I think his wife was telling me about how he told a joke about oh, this guy lost one leg, but at least he has another leg, right?
Yeah.
Which you can't say that in America. God help you.
Morbid jokes.
Very morbid. But then again, here in America, we haven't really experienced war. War is such a faraway place for us, right?
And not since the 1800s.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully not for a long time.
Yeah, it's in Afghanistan. It's in like even World War II wasn't in the home country. It's in Europe, right? So yeah, we haven't really experienced war there. So maybe our sense of humor is a little bit different. But yeah, that's that. I wanted to mention finally beat Horizon Forbidden West.
Congratulations, loser.
Very much.
No, I'm joking.
What'd you say? I missed it.
No, it's just like how do you beat that already? You know what I mean? But
Hey, some
It is
people
what
beat
it is,
it.
bro.
Some people beat it in like a couple days, which is nuts because there's a lot of
Well,
content to get through.
I feel like
Um,
those people probably just played the straight up story missions and nothing else. I mean, it doesn't mean you had to
yeah,
the
I
bare
mean,
minimum.
yeah, I will say though, like I enjoy the story like a lot.
Yeah.
So I definitely enjoy the stories. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy talking about. I mean, just kind of checking up on the characters. And after you like beat the game, like you can still go around and talk to some of the characters. I won't spoil it to you. But like I wanted to beat it last week, but I didn't even play it last week. So this week I was just kind of just spending a couple hours every day just beefing up my weapons and like the armor.
Mm-hmm.
And my character was so fucking overpowered by the time I got to like the final couple bosses. Like it was just a joke. Like I have a
Like a
certain
walk in the
build.
park.
It really was. Like it was kind of embarrassing because I have a certain build, right? That's I don't want to spoil it for you when you eventually play it, but
Yeah, yeah.
like you've played Horizon Zero Dawn. There are weapons where you can freeze somebody and like freeze like a machine or a person, and when they're frozen, they're brittle and they're more susceptible to damage, right?
I had that in
Um,
the last game. Yeah.
yeah, that was in the last game, right? In this game, there's something called Valor Surge, which is kind of like a limit break or like an ultimate move, right? Something that you build up over time, and then you can like unleash like the ultimate move or whatever, right?
Okay.
So what I did is I built up a couple of like some very just super special weapons um that like makes it super easier to freeze someone, right? And then what I did is I equip my sharpshooter and then put on my Valor Surge for power shots, right? And and I'll hit like the enemy and you should see their life just freaking go like get cut in half. Like it's like like it's just like boom, boom. It's like literally 3 hits and they're dead. And it's like, man, this
But
is
you had to
really
play a lot of the side missions to get that stuff, right? Like
that's true. Yes.
to level up your person
Yeah,
like that,
so
right?
I had to play a lot of the side missions to get certain like weapons to be able to get that done. So I spent a lot of time doing that, and I enjoy the side missions. But yeah, that's that. The end of the game, I wouldn't say it was super satisfying. It was a little satisfying. I wish there was a little bit more to it than that.
Okay.
Again, I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't.
Did it set up a
Yes,
future for you?
absolutely.
Okay.
Just
For
just
you.
just just like the last one did, right?
Okay.
So it definitely set up a future one. Overall review of the game is a really good game. Um, Lots of kind of diversity, LGBT kind of influence, kind of very
Mm-hmm.
kind of sprinkled out there, but it wasn't like totally in your face either, right?
Okay.
Which we've talked about this in the past where like when we see
Yeah.
in movies where it's like just check boxes, right? Where it's like I need this character to have, you know, to be
Or
black
somebody's
and
got to
gay
say
and trans and
something. You got to
everything,
have
and
that
like it's like
line. Yeah.
really in your face, right? And they have that in the game, but it's not a lot of it's not part of the main story. Number one, and number two, um, like you have to kind of like just be paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I it was kind of a breath of fresh air for me. But outside of that, yeah, um, pretty
Good
good
stuff,
stuff.
man.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Um, I
Well,
do,
I'm still on Gran Turismo.
yeah,
So right now, let's see. I've gotten pretty good at like the circuit races and everything.
yeah.
It's like somebody says I was like Pokemon for car enthusiasts. It's pretty much what it is. Like
That's a
it's
great
something
analogy.
about it's something about collecting those cars, man. I finally tried like one of the other game modes last week. It's like this one where because Gran Turismo is about the music too, right?
Yeah.
So
But you told
they
me it's
have
not
a
that good right now, so which is a
it's
little
not
disappointing.
they gotta work on it. They did have a pretty good track from Idris Elba, which I was surprised by. I really enjoyed
Wait,
that
Idris
actually.
Elba?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, I didn't know he's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So it's like they have like a time trial thing, but it's set to the music. So it's like you try to see how far you can get or how many miles you can travel by the time the song ends. And then if you do that, then you earn that music like in the game or whatever, right? So
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. Like you definitely have some based on what you hear, just like playing races in the game right now. You definitely have some incentive to go in and like open up the soundtrack
Yeah.
for sure. So that was pretty cool. But then there was a little bit of controversy this week because they added, there's a recent update, right?
Yeah.
And basically what it did is just it kind of did more for like the microtransactions. And that got like a lot of negative reception from the fans and whatnot. So I believe, I don't know if it's come out yet, but I think it either has come out or it's about to. They're bringing out another update where I think they're going to scale some of that back. And then as like a goodwill gesture, they're giving players, in-game money. So if you are playing the game, definitely log in, see if you got some extra credits.
Yeah.
Leave a comment down there. Let us know, how much you got. I heard it was like, supposed to be like 1 million credits depending on how affected you were or whatever. So
yeah. No.
I'm sitting on like 300K right now.
What?
But
Okay. How much did it start you with in the game?
Well, I pre-ordered, right? So
yeah.
I think I got started with it had to be at least 100,000 or something like that. 100,000 credits or whatever. But I haven't really. I think I might have bought one car out of like outside playing for the other cars that I got. But I spent most of my time really just trying to get the licenses.
Yeah.
And there's like one car that I use a lot. It's a Nissan 350 Z that I use in a lot of my races.
350Z? Okay.
Yeah. So I've been tuning that up. That's pretty much the only thing I spent my money on so far.
Nice.
But I'm waiting to get that BMW, man.
Of course. Ultimate driving machine. Yeah, in the old games, one of my favorite cars was the BMW M3, the racing edition of it. It's a great car, right? I won a lot of races using that car. So, yeah, I actually, what's funny is because I haven't been into cars as much lately, and what's crazy, probably the reason for that is because I haven't been playing Gran Turismo lately. So I'm kind of finishing up Horizon. I'm gonna get into Gran Turismo. I'm gonna take your advice and log in soon, get that million credits.
Yeah, definitely do that. You can, the way the multiplayer is too, like you can go in there and you can race people online. I haven't really I'm not gonna do that till I mod up one of my cars really good, like the Nissan or whatever. Get that modded up real good. There's they have the Porsche Taycan available to race with. I can't wait to get that. I did that. I used that in one of the license tests or whatever. So
yeah,
I'm up to is it International B? Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
So
yeah.
Dope game. Dope game.
I did hear there were a couple of updates. Like there was one update that said that it made some of the license impossibles to get. And I think that I'm sure they've changed it. I did see a review how the making it online only kind of ruins the game a little bit and the reason why they do that is because they don't want players to kind of edit the save files, right? Again, I've never played online. I never really play online because I suck at it. I remember I played Gran Turismo 6 online and it was just annoying because people will drive the opposite way and run into you just for
shits and giggles.
Or the lobby would just take forever and it's just annoying. So I'll definitely kind of heed your advice and do that.
For sure.
I want to talk Ukraine war just super quickly, right?
Yeah.
Because I just messaged this to you a couple minutes ago, how the Russian soldiers ran over their commander, blaming him for
I saw
losses.
the title. I was like, what?
Yeah, I saw that over the weekend. I was like, that's freaking crazy. I'm surprised. That's not even bigger news. Tell me the war is not going on, going terribly without actually telling me that shit right there, right?
Yeah.
I looked up briefly and the Kremlin released that they've lost 1,000 soldiers, but Ukraine and NATO is saying that they actually lost like close to from either 7,000 to 14,000
Mm.
like soldiers. And now for context, right? United States when it went to war with in Iraq, they lost 5,000, right?
Mm.
Soldiers. And I think um Russia lost less soldiers when they went to war in Afghanistan as well. So definitely pretty interesting. Just kind of wanted to kind of make that little update right quick. I was watching a couple like just videos to kind of understand like the fall of the Soviets Union and where like Vladimir Putin like kind of saw himself in that
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So some pretty interesting
Mm-hmm.
stuff out there. The infographics show, which is a YouTube channel. They do a lot of like really interesting things there. So I was looking up their resources though, and a lot of their resources come from like Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, which
I knew
so
it.
you got to take it for what it's worth, right? Because
Welp.
yeah, well, Wikipedia does have moderators, right? But it
Yeah.
also like in all this in this age of disinformation about COVID or whatever. Notice you don't hear him talking about Wikipedia, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know it can be edited, so and even they will tell you they're not like the source of truth. So um yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that a little bit because I just thought that was just nuts. Like,
Yeah.
damn, you
Yeah.
guys ran over your own freaking guy. Let's
I
talk
mean,
about
there's
March.
definitely been some stories about that, like how
Yeah,
it just seems like some of the Russian soldiers, the heart isn't in it. They don't really want to be
morale.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, the morale is kind of low. And then you hear like on the Ukrainian side, they're all about that smoke. It seems like they're just like, whatever we got to do.
yeah,
So, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they're in negotiations right now, right? Like,
yeah.
um, at the UN or something like that. So,
Yeah. No, Russia and Ukraine, they're in negotiations. Part of the negotiations is Russia does not want Ukraine to join NATO, right?
yeah.
Because that's just Western influence moving closer to their borders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like from what I've just read about kind of Soviet Union, kind of Russia's like stances, like their whole goal is to expand outwards because they have a history of just like nations like invading, like Nazi Germany in World War II, like really messed up like Russia. And Russia lost like over a million people. Well, actually close to
Yeah.
27 million people in total, right? Um, so like things like that kind of drives their expansion, but that hasn't really worked. And it like there's a whole like that's another episode I can talk about like from what I've read about
Well, we
like
did talk about that when the war first started, right? Like we were
yeah,
kind of
we
talking
did.
about the background on that,
Yeah.
especially with like the NATO countries. It's
Yep.
like they feel like because they view like the NATO countries as enemies or whatever. So
Yeah. Well,
as
Western
NATO,
influence.
as more of the countries join NATO and they all border Russia, they're like,
Like, shit again. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
yeah. Yeah.
it
So
doesn't make it right for them to invade, another country like that. But at the same
yeah.
time, I can understand how they might feel threatened by that too. So
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes from their type of propaganda too. Like again, I can talk a whole episode on kind of just on what I've learned um about that. But
mhm.
yeah. Let's move on to March Madness. How's your bracket doing, man?
Brack is dead. so so I had Houston
They lost.
going pretty deep, right? And
Yeah.
I actually, obviously I don't have time to watch every game, but the game I did watch them play, I mean, they were killing it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the one weakness I saw was their outside shooting. It was just like they could not get some of those shots to fall, even
Yeah.
when they were wide open. I mean, inside you talk about rebounding defense, getting those putbacks or whatever. Like they were killing that, and I feel like that helped their game out. But the outside shooting they struggled, and then ultimately they lost. So yeah, not my bracket is now officially dead. I'm still second in my group or whatever. We got like a little bet going on, but
How many
there's
you have in
still.
the final four?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. My bracket's dead,
Oh,
right?
you got no one in the final four.
Yeah,
Yikes.
it's dead.
Okay.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Because I didn't see UNC doing what they did. I definitely would not have guessed that. It was like they were kind of just like they're on the low, like they were number one seed, but it wasn't like they were making as much noise as some of the other
Yeah.
folks, other
Well,
schools
UNC
were, or
is an
whatever.
8
So
seed.
my bad.
Yeah,
Well, they
so
still
they're
weren't
an
making
8
as
seed.
much noise as some of the other schools were, but they're like really good. Like I was watching them play today. Really
Yeah.
good.
Well, they beat the pants off of St. Peter's. So St. Peter's,
Yeah.
they are they were the
Cinderella
first
story.
Cinderella story. They're the Cinderella of the tournament this year. They're the first 15 seed to make it to the Elite Eight.
Oh
Right.
man.
And I mean, a lot of teams they snuck up on a lot of teams. So I remember seeing that
Yeah.
Kentucky game. I watched the Kentucky game. And was just shocked that like Kentucky lost. I didn't see the Murray State game, but they beat Murray State, and they were able to beat Purdue. And North Carolina was like, nah.
Yeah.
So you're not sneaking up at us. And North Carolina beat them by like 20.
North Carolina had the size on them, though, man. St.
Yeah.
Petersburg was way too small.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you see this with a lot of teams with like in the NCAA tournament. Like this happened with Gonzaga last year too. Like Gonzaga, they'll win a lot of games, but like when they usually get to the end of the tournament, like the final games, I saw this with Gonzaga, I saw this with Butler. Like when the outside shooting like goes, like it's done. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're not beating them like Gonzaga got the brakes blown off them by like Baylor last year. And Baylor, they just flex on them, like just bad. And I remember this Butler a couple years ago where Butler made it to one of the small mid-major schools, make it to the final game, win against UConn. UConn flex on them. Right.
And, I mean, you're going to run into the right one to really see like if you got what it takes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think Coach K is going to get another championship?
That's a good one. That's a good question. So I'm looking at the Final Four right now. I saw Duke win against, who was the team they beat against? Arkansas. So I saw the end of that game. And this is going to be really interesting because it's going to be Duke versus North Carolina.
Right? I can't wait to see that. Ooh,
that's a great freaking game. And let me tell you something. As legendary as that rivalry has been, they have never played each other in the NCAA tournament, like ever.
That's crazy.
Which is
That's
nuts,
crazy,
right?
Yeah.
And the last time, like we saw North Carolina play Duke, North Carolina beat Duke on their home court, right? Coach K's last game in Cameron Indoor Stadium, his last like game there. North Carolina came in, their arch rival came in there, beat the pants off them.
And, he wants revenge.
Yeah, and like they were like it was so bad that Coach K, like when he gave his speech at the end, had to like apologize. It's like, I'm sorry that happened. And he's like, no, that was an embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so that's actually pretty interesting. The
other thing I like too is that I gotta bring it up just because I'm seeing these Black coaches out here being successful. So very happy about that. You had St. Petersburg coach. You had UNC Hubert Davis. So definitely happy to see that, man. For sure.
That's good. No, that's definitely, that needs to be said more, right? Coaches, right? You don't see enough of that. Right?
Yeah. So you got Penny Hardaway out there now. He's doing pretty good at Memphis program.
Well, Penny Hardaway's in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Like a lot of NCAA violations. He was, I think, was he UConn or was that somebody else? No, that was Kevin Ollie. Penny Hardaway is in some trouble. So that's unfortunate.
Well, hopefully he makes it out of there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We shall see. But yeah, Final Four is Duke versus North Carolina. That's going to be a great game.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, we might have to go to a bar or something to see that one. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we might have to, man.
And number 1 Kansas versus number 2 Villanova. Villanova lost one of their players to a hamstring. Achilles tear, which is just hard to see, right? But yeah, that's that. Man, it's pretty good. All right.
You got to
So
get to the Supreme Court
yeah, I was
to
gonna
the.
hit Leah Thomas first, then the Supreme
Oh, go
Court.
ahead. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Supreme Court, I mean, I've watched a little bit of it. Like I've seen a little bit of like the questions. I definitely want you to definitely because I think you've been more on top of that than I have on this one. Um, this one that's pretty interesting. This Leah Thomas one, uh, it's been interesting, and I've been trying to. I think I sent you a couple articles
I did. I'm
reading
looking at it
about
right
this.
now. Yeah,
Uh, just trying to get my understanding. And we've talked about this earlier too, right? Remember with the Olympics where we had the transgender Olympic weightlifter.
and the I think it was a runners from I forgot what country in Africa it
Yeah,
was.
so there are a couple of runners that was banned because they were born intersex, right?
But
Um,
oh, I thought it was just like their testosterone levels were too
yeah,
high.
so they're well, so they were born female, right? Like identified as gender female, but they're considered intersex because of the high testosterone levels, right? So they have naturally high testosterone levels. Um, and they were banned from not playing. So like there's a little bit of we I think I try to have empathy about the situation, but there's definitely race play involved, I think, right?
Of course, they get
Um,
banned. This dude,
yeah. I
this
mean, and
person
then we have
gets to swim and win.
Shikari Johnson, right? Who was banned from competing in the Olympics, right? Because she smoked marijuana, which is not a performance enhancing drug, right? So
At all. It's a
like
depressant.
yeah. So like you can change rules for some people, but not for others. It doesn't really and like when they banned her, they're like, well, rules are rules. And I'm like, but we change rules for like, reasons, right? And we're in a situation now where um a lot of states have had some form of legalization of marijuana, right? So like what's going on? So there's that, but let's go ahead and talk about this Leah Thomas situation. So Leah Thomas is a transgender NCAA swimmer. She has broken a lot of records, right? So she swims for the University of Pennsylvania, right? She was on the men's team, right? In
Yeah.
2019, she transitioned over to the women's team, and the NCAA decided not to. And I was looking this up a little bit before, like I came on. The NCAA decided not to adopt new rules by like the kind of the National Olympic, I mean, Swimming Association, right? So just saying that. So I'm just gonna read just from like uh I just Googled NCAA swimmer transgender policy, right? I'll just read straight from here. USA Swimming announced its new rules for elite swimmers on February 1st. That policy includes a requirement that transgender women swimmers demonstrate they have maintained a testosterone level below 5 nanomoles per liter continuously for at least 36 months before competition. Now, it must be said, though, that they only need one test to prove this, right? Um, so for my look, I think I said this last time. I said I'm not gonna go so far as to say like no, this person should not be swimming or not. Like there's a lot of ignorance at play here, right? Like and
Sure.
there's definitely a culture war going on here, right? We talked about this a little bit with like Dave Chappelle and his special, right? As well. Um as someone who's an African American male, right? I my I want to defend as many rights as possible because that's the best way to defend my rights, right?
Sure.
And as much as I want to have empathy for right transgender, and I do have empathy for transgender women of people, simply because, like again, protecting their rights protects your rights, right? Just very simply, right? The more rights you protect, right, it helps protect your rights. That being said, though, there is the empathy of letting someone live their life, like live their life the way that they feel that they are. So if they feel like I don't know what it's like to be a transgender individual, but there is having that empathy to letting someone live their life. But there is a biology component of this as well, right? And I listened to on this issue, I've listened to one like sportscaster that I like watching on ESPN, Sarah Spain. So she's a athlete and just kind of an advocate for kind of women's sports. And who else was I kind of listening to right before? I was listening to
Stephen A.
ESPN Daily. No, not Stephen A. Stephen A. will not touch this issue with a 10-foot pole. I promise you that. There's no way he's talking about this issue. But I was watching ESPN Daily, and I don't have the link up, but it's Pablo Torre and I think Katie Barnes is her name, who's been following this issue a lot, and they talk about they don't explicitly say no or yes. They talk about the culture for a war that's around this issue. But I think one thing that's mentioned though is that this is very much a science question, right? And we just don't have the science in place to do this, right? So like, or we don't have the scientific knowledge just to say for certain that Leah Thompson has an unfair advantage or not, right? I don't think there's any real definitive answer there. It does just kind of, and I'm no athlete and whatnot, but it does kind of feel a little interesting or weird that here's someone who trained as a man, right, up to right, like college, and then switches, right. Now, no, I'm definitely not going to suggest that she is switched just to win. Absolutely not. But there is a biological component. Does it matter that she has like a testosterone level below like 5 nanomoles if you've trained most of your life as a male in competitive swimming, right? I don't have those answers. So yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts on that.
So it was
Yeah.
funny, like you were talking about how the switch, when he switched over, like he won. So I saw a meme about that today. The internet.
Yeah. There've been
The
different
internet
jokes.
never takes a day off, right? Never takes a day off.
Yeah.
So somebody posted up, they were like, it was a picture of him, swimming as a man in a men's competition. It's like, when you go from all Madden to easy, you know what I'm saying? It goes from, him to, to her and winning and all of that or whatever. And it was just like, God, the internet takes no days off, man. But
no, Andrew Schultz, like who, I think you know of him, right? He's fucking hilarious. But he kind of makes like his living by just, as Dave Chappelle said, speaking recklessly, right? So he
that's a comedian's job. I
yeah.
don't believe in censoring comedians. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
episode. That's a comedian's job.
Yeah, I mean, you can only take so much advice from a comedian anyway, right? So like you have to like, it's they're comedians, right?
The reason for that is in the job title.
Yeah, they're comedians, right? Yeah. So yeah, you can only take him so seriously. But like he was on his podcast and he was like, he was dressed up in like he had a bra on. And he was like, I'm announcing that I'm going to go out for the United States women's swimming.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, like yikes.
So that's like, obviously like that's taking it to the next level, but there are some people who feel like that's what's happening with some of the athletes, right? They're just like, well, I just go over here and, obviously like deciding to make that change is like very personal, very huge life altering decision, right? Mm-hmm. But I think you made a good point. It's really about the science, and when we get down to the science of things and what makes sense to have things be done. I honestly think that we just need to have more testing. Like you should just have like, a bunch of swim meets and just do some testing or figure out, tests that show like, for people who decide to go through that process, like how much is their physical capabilities changed by doing the hormone treatments and all that stuff, right? Because in one of the stories that you sent me, it was documented that her swim times went down after their hormone treatments, right? So that's less testosterone, less muscle capacity, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, it's kind of hard to judge. Like I kind of see both sides, right?
Yeah.
Because for the women out there who are our women have been women from birth or whatever.
Yeah.
You feel a certain way when you hear like, oh, here's somebody who went from being a man to a woman. Now they're swimming with me. You're 6 foot whatever, and you go to I'm 5'3" and whatever. Like you're already longer and taller.
Yeah.
You're probably stronger. So
yeah.
What am I supposed to do? There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
Right?
What constitutes as fair, right? So I think again, Dave Chappelle makes this joke, right? And comedian, so you only take it so seriously. But he talked about like what does equality mean, right? So if LeBron James switches over from the NBA to WNBA, right? Where he'll score, like he's killing it right now. right? So but he will probably still be extremely dominant, even if he is like keeping his testosterone levels lower, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what does that mean, right? So, I think this takes a lot of empathy to kind of look at, but a lot of logic as well, right? Again, I'm not someone that says I love everyone because I think no one loves everyone. I think people say that annoy the fuck out of me. But
well, yeah, of course.
Everybody, no one loves everyone. But at the same time, right? You want to have empathy, but you can't like let that get in the way of like asking the necessary questions that needs to be asked right here, right? I do want to say too, because conservative media has been all over this. Right, like
oh my god, like, this is why I can't wait to talk about the Ketanji.
Yeah, so this is a great transition over. This is why I want to talk about her next, right?
Goodness gracious.
Last, but conservative media has been all over Leah Thompson, Telegraph, Fox News. Like I don't know why my Google like suggests conservative media outlets to me, but like it does.
It probably thinks you're a Trump fan because of all your searches.
This is what happens when you do your proper due diligence. Like the AI thinks like you're like for these guys.
Trump
like,
supporter,
for these guys.
Honestly.
Fuck that.
Go ahead, give him the latest Ted Cruz drama.
Yeah. But I do want to kind of make a statement, like for all like conservative media that's or the conservatives that are making laws against transgender athletes. You are aware that you're canceling them, right? I do want to point that out, that you're canceling them, and you're the ones that complain about cancel culture. So just saying, when is cancel culture bad or good?
Yeah, man.
With that. But speaking of like conservatives and how they handle women, let's talk about the Supreme Court justice pick right now. But what if I haven't kept up a whole lot with it, but I did hear a couple things about like what they've been asking.
So there's so much to unpack with this situation.
Yeah.
First and foremost, huge shout out and props to her for even being nominated. I actually went back and looked at some of her, basically just did a resume check pretty much, right? As much as I can anyway. I'm just a regular person doing a Google. Yeah. Right. But I mean, she has a lot of good experience. So I think she's qualified, right? Yeah. That's probably just me partially just being excited to see a person of color being nominated for the position or whatnot. But if you listen to the confirmation hearing, it's so politically charged. It's not even funny. Yeah. On the Democratic side, you have people like Cory Booker coming in, just like, hey, like, thank you for all you've done. You represent me. You're doing your ancestors proud, et cetera, et cetera. Mm. You got other people, basically saying like, hey, I think you're a great nominee. I see what you've done here and there.
Mhm.
And then you have people like Ted Cruz coming in and bringing up
Right.
critical race theory because she's on the board, she's on the school board for like a private school in Georgetown that her daughter goes to.
Mhm.
And so now he's like, oh, you're helping to spread critical race theory and you're helping to spread the whole thing about, about the gender equality, yeah, like the gender and sexuality and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The whole thing about pushing that on kids and making them choose. And they're asking her questions about, uh, what makes a woman, things like
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, just the line of questionings that she's had to endure was so far and above any of the other confirmation hearings that I've heard.
Yeah.
It's beyond ridiculous. Even the last dude, he was accused of sexual assault, right?
Brett Kavanaugh.
And
Talking about.
Brett Kavanaugh, right?
Mhm.
Um, so he gets blasted about that, but not so much about what his philosophies are or whatever,
Mhm.
right? He just gets blasted on that, and you see him crying and throwing temper tantrum in there. Then you see
It's nuts.
her in there, and with the questions that they're asking and the ignorance that they're just not ignorance, but just like the disrespect they're putting off on her, and the way that she has responded and held herself, it's just to be applauded, man, because that right there just shows you what Black people have to deal with on a daily basis in this
Especially
country,
Black
man.
women, right?
Yeah, especially Black women, right?
Yeah.
Like there was articles out there like of women who understood what she was going through because you could see it in her body language. They're asking these questions, and she'll be like this. She'll be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean? But instead of like throwing a temper tantrum and crying like Brett Kavanaugh and them did,
Yeah.
she
Or Donald Trump.
she maintains her composure.
Yeah.
Like on the question about what makes a woman, she's like, well, I'm not a biologist, so I can't really answer that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that right there, like her being able to withstand that and maintaining her composure and answer the questions the way that she did, I was
Yeah.
like, I think she's a great candidate.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of shows like kind of what Black people have to go through this country and kind of why we're good. Kind of what we do sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Um, because I mean we get kind of questions that no one else kind of gets, right? And we have to kind of deal with things that no one else has to deal with, right? I did hear about like GOP Senator Marsha Blackburn, right? So
Asking her about white privilege.
yes, yes, and she schooled her, trying to school her about white privilege, right? And it's like, yeah, Jose,
You
you
don't
got
know what white. Of course, you're a white woman. Of course, you don't know about white privilege. You're living it. You don't
yeah,
know
of
about this
course,
shit.
of
You don't
course,
know why I would say that you have it. Of
yeah,
course you don't.
yeah,
Because you can get away with all the stuff that I can't.
yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Well, that shit right there.
Nobody's staring at you if you walk into a store with a hoodie on or whatever
Yeah,
that you want to wear. Nobody's looking at you, right? Like you
yeah,
don't belong or whatever. Or like
and
when the cops stop you and you argue with the cop and get belligerent and nothing happens to you. Whereas if I do the same thing, I get shot.
yeah,
It's white privilege,
yeah.
man.
Now that I think about it too, there are also no Black women in the Senate either, right? Um, like there's only a handful of Black people in the Senate, right? Cory Booker, Reverend Warwick,
Yeah,
uh,
not very many.
and there's a conservative, South Carolina, um, that like he like is really a handful. They're all males, so yeah, I mean it's very telling, right? That they're doing this, right? It looks like like Stacey Munchkin, right? West Virginia senator. He is
Yeah,
going to approve her, which kind of means that it's probably gonna be a 50-50 split in the Senate, right? Actually, I think Mitt Romney is gonna approve her too. I think, but I think it's gonna be a very close Senate, but I think we'll have our first Black Supreme Court justice, first Black woman Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Black Supreme Court justice, I didn't want to
There's
mention
only
this.
been two. There's only been two. Clarence Thomas, Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah, Clarence Thomas, Thurgood Marshall. Total opposites of each other. Clarence Thomas' wife, I don't know if you heard the story about this one. I actually just read about it today. Was that she was actually texting like the someone in Trump's like administration. I think I forgot what his position was, but trying to get them to, like, this is, by the way, a Supreme Court justice's wife contacting someone in this Trump administration, right, to get them to overturn the election, trying to work towards overturning the election. And that is crazy, right?
Yeah, man.
Like, I think so. Amy Klobuchar kind of just pointed out, saying that he should kind of recuse himself, especially with like, there's a lot of investigation with like what's going on with him now. So definitely should recuse himself. We can get somebody else in there. Yeah, that is nuts. Yeah, so I'm kind of reading this right here. So Gina Thomas, which is Justice Thomas's wife, right, was texting someone in the Trump administration, right, to try to the White House chief of staff. I don't know why I just blurred my mind. So the White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows, was urging him to help overturn the 2020 election results, calling it calling it a textbook case of recusal. So Amy Klobuchar was saying like this guy should recuse himself from like anything dealing with like with Trump right now.
Yeah.
There's also been a lot of other sketch shit with like with Gina Thomas, like accepting like money from lobbyists and whatnot as well. Won't put all that right now, but yeah, it's just nuts. When we have that shit happening.
Yeah, man.
Like skewing this woman who has an amazing record and just taking all these questions with grace and
I'm shocked by the way she took these questions and the things that they're asking. Again, like we've talked about this on the podcast like a lot of times, especially critical race theory. I think it's just a hot button thing for me.
Yeah.
But when like Ted Cruz like brought these books up and tried to show that these books were examples of critical race theory being taught in the school that she's affiliated with, it was just like, dude, that's not critical race. You don't even know what critical race theory is. Like they're just throwing it at anything and hoping and praying that it sticks.
Yeah.
Like those are university level topic, discussion points or whatever. Like there's nothing wrong with teaching real history and giving some context behind some of the things that happened back in the day, like Jim Crow and the Green Book. Like those are things that need to be taught. People need to understand, or like even the things that go on today, right?
Tulsa Massacre, which that was never taught to me in school.
Yeah, I had to watch. How did I learn about Tulsa? I had to watch like that movie. Remember that movie Rosewood?
Yes.
With Ving Rhames. That was based on a true story. I think it might have been based on Tulsa, or it might have been based on like a similar event or whatever. But it wasn't until I watched it where I kind of looked some things up and learned about the Tulsa Massacre, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then the other thing that this makes me think about too is code switching.
Yes.
Right. So, for those people who are, don't really know what that is, when we talk about code switching, we're referencing the fact that, like, as Black men and women, we have to kind of change up the way we act, speak, depending on where we are. You know what I mean? So obviously, everybody will be like, oh, well, obviously I don't act the way I am at home, the way I do at work. But it goes beyond that, right? you kind of have to, put a mask over, your culture and some of the things that make you you, so that you're more acceptable, and depending on where you are, like whether it be the corporate world or whatever, you kind of have to disguise yourself or whatever, right? Just, and so it just made me think about it.
You have to adopt Eurocentric qualities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very Eurocentric qualities with how you speak and talk and in vernacular and whatnot. I can speak a little bit to this too, because this actually happened a lot when I was younger, right? And because I grew up kind of poor and whatnot, and my parents really kind of dug into me as to how to speak and whatnot, and also got made fun of in certain groups, right? So one thing with African Americans is the word ask, right? Sometimes you hear a lot of word ax, right?
Yep.
A lot as well, right? And I got made fun of like growing up when I would say, how to ask you a question. It's like, how do you ask someone? Like when my wife friends would be like, well, how do you ask somebody a question, right? So right. So there are little things like that that
like our colloquialisms and stuff and
Yeah.
slang and all that stuff, that's looked down upon. But
yeah,
the Eurocentric ones are the ones that are kind of upheld
exactly.
and things like that. So just watching her like having to maintain her composure, and as a Black person, I know what she's suppressing, because you see some of the stuff, a deep breath, the thing like with the eyebrows or whatever, the pauses, you know what I mean? Like when you see like a Black woman doing some of these things, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like,
I can barely keep it together at work sometimes, man. Some of the shit that I hear, like, it's like, so, like, I can never get into politics, because that's a different level of patience that I just do not have. Right. Like, I work in technology, and for me, it's about what you can prove and what you can't prove. Right.
Things are a little more black and white in the technical world, for sure.
Yeah, and this is more this is more subjective, right? So it's it's crazy. But it's truly amazing how she's able to keep that level of composure, and I can't wait to kind of to have her in. Now, I mean, like, I've made fun of well, I mean we've kind of joked Joe Biden because he hasn't been able to pass the Police Reform Act and like Voter Rights Act, right, per se, right? And he goes on like State of the Union, it's like, not the fund police, but fund them, and it's like, well, that's not what the fund the police means, but whatever. But he has
I don't think it's his fault that he can't pass them. I mean, he can't. There's only so much you can do with Congress.
That's true.
I mean, either you're going to work with the sitting president to do some of the stuff. The Voting Rights Act needs to be done. Yeah. They're bullshitting on it, right? I mean,
the moderate members of like the Democratic Party kind of snowballed that one. But I will say this, right? A lot of history's been made under him, right? So first female vice president, also African American woman of color, right? First like Supreme Court justice, woman of color, right? It's a good thing, because diversity matters. I'm a huge proponent of like diversity, like diverse thinking, diverse cultures. I think that's a big reason why the United States has been so successful, right? We're the most diverse country. And we get ideas from everyone. Actually, like when World War II ended, we were stealing Polish and German like scientists, right?
Oh yeah,
but
of course.
That's helped us with the space race, right?
That's how
it's helped us with nuclear weapons, right?
What's his face came over here? Einstein came over
here. Yeah. That's how we've improved our ballistic missiles, right?
It's a turning point. Like even with her, like I think about like if her nomination had come like, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You probably would have seen her in there like with her hair straightened or something like that. You know what I'm saying? She's in there like with a natural hairstyle. Even just little things like that, you could tell like we as the people are kind of just like, yo, this is us. Here we are. Like we're carrying the culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm proud of her. And that one picture that
Yeah, I remember
went viral, man. With her sitting there, but it was like she wasn't the focus in the picture. It was like her daughter. You
smiling.
see her daughter back there, like smiling back at her or whatever. That went viral. The photographer was also black. I think she made history as well, being
Ah.
a black photographer in that situation. But beautiful picture. That's why I posted up on our Instagram at the Target Podcast.
Yep. Follow us. Like, comment,
Like and
subscribe.
follow. I'll take
No,
what I can get.
it was a great picture.
Yeah. No, that was an awesome picture, man.
Yeah.
Awesome picture.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. I think we hit all our topics, man.
Was there something else we were supposed to talk about?
I think we hit all. I put the list out right before like we went on. I was like, this is kind of the plan. Like, Ukraine, March
You're right.
Madness, Thompson, hit them all.
Well done.
We're efficient as fuck today.
We're a well-oiled machine over here.
Exactly. We're getting this done, right? Oh, we can shoot this shit a little bit. So, Oscars are going on tonight. Totally not watching it. Totally not watching it.
I was flipping around on TV. I don't know what channel. I must have left it on the channel or something. I get downstairs.
Yeah.
And I go to like turn off the TV. I see like somebody giving a speech or whatever. It's like I really don't care.
Yeah.
The acting award shows are so boring.
They're boring and they do have trouble like reaching mainstream audiences. And like if you even like look at like how the Oscars like does nominations and stuff, it's so just biased and just fucked up, right? Like even Denzel Washington kind of spoke about, because Denzel Washington has played in a lot of just great movies. He's been an awesome thespian just for his just career, right? One of I think his best like acting performance was when he was Malcolm X, right? Which I don't think he got nominated.
Yeah.
If he got nominated, he didn't win. Definitely not, right? We all know that he won for
Training Day.
Yeah, Training Day, right? That's when he won. And he even kind of jokes about this, like in like one of his speeches, where like what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of go to these like award, like these critics houses, and kind of like just do these campaigning things to get nominated and whatever. There's a whole campaigning and like a whole underbelly of this to even get nominated. Talk less of win, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Oh God. We might have to do that for another episode.
Like I thought they just watched the movie.
Fuck no. No, there's a whole lot of campaigning and other underworld and shit, like or like giving gifts to the critics who are voting for this. Like that's an actual thing. Or having like watching parties where they give, like, if you're a critic, right, who's going to be voting for the Oscars, I'll have a watching, and I'm like, if I'm in a movie, I'll have a watching party at my house and say, oh, here's like this Rolex watch as a gift as well, right? Thank you for coming to my party, right?
I think we need to start doing movie reviews for real. Well, I could use a Rolex.
Well, what we need to do is we need to get on like those voting boards. But what happened too was that a lot of these reviewers are white, right? So I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, the Oscar was so white controversy, where nobody, like almost like very little Black people were nominated for an Oscar, right? And you look at the review board, it's mostly white people, right? And yeah, I mean that kind of like tells you that, right? Where that's what's going on there, and that's why
tells you all you need to know.
Diversity matters, right? One other movie called 12 Years a Slave, right? You remember that movie, right? One of the guys in the Oscars, like the critics, he didn't even watch the movie. Did not watch the movie. but voted for it to like win because he was supposed to do it, right? And you're it shows how much
Wow.
disservice you're doing to that movie, right? Because it's actually a
Yeah.
pretty good movie.
I haven't been able to bring myself to watch it actually.
It's a pretty good movie. I will say this though, it also yet another thing about like these the Oscars is that the black people that win normally these movies is either they're a bad guy, right? Like Forrest
Training.
Whitaker or a Denzel Washington Trading Day, or they're very subservient, right? So Halle Berry um was like actually there was a rape scene in her movie, right? Um when she won an Oscar for.
Monsters
Uh
Ball
Monsters Ball, yeah, there's a rape scene.
of her.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have to look it up again. I'm pretty sure I'm right though about
Uh,
that.
if
I'm
you
pretty
thought
su- I'm
she
pretty
was
sure I'm
pretty
right.
much begging the dude for for what
Okay, maybe it
happened
wasn't a
in
rape
this
scene. Never
scene.
mind. Okay, you watched it. I didn't. I thought it
That's
was a
the
rape
only
scene.
thing I remember about the movie. Terrible.
Was her begging the guy? I was gonna look this up in incognito window because I didn't want to go.
That's I was upset that she won. First of all, that movie
Yeah.
was horrible. Okay. But then it was like she wins actress for that in a movie where like she's begging like a white dude named Billy Bob to have sex with her or whatever. And I was just like, it's there's too much
Yeah,
of a
but
message in there for
it
me. I
yeah,
can't.
it brings my point though. So like you don't see black people winning for playing Malcolm X or um Martin Luther
At the
King.
help. Did Viola Davis win it for the help? Or was it Viola
She
Davis
won
for
for
the
the
help?
help. No, no. It's Octavia Spencer. She won
Octavia
for the help.
Spencer. Did she win?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again,
Viola
well,
Davis.
subservient. She was
Yeah,
subservient in that movie. Yeah.
yeah, kind of, right? And was kind of I thought by the way, I thought The Help was a great movie. Viola Davis said that she regrets playing in that movie. I actually thought it was pretty good, but like it's still a white savior's movie, right?
Yeah.
Regardless. Um but like there's a pattern there, right?
Yeah.
Where like black people when they're in subservient roles, right? Lupita Nyong'o, right? She won an Oscar for 12 Years a Slave. Did great in the movie, but she was a slave getting beaten and like being raped by her master, essentially, right? So and she wins an Oscar for it. So there is definitely
Yeah.
something there, right, with that, right? That they need to kind of change. Um with that. And the Oscars will claim to be like super liberal and progressive, but like there's that there. There is that there. So
I don't
yeah.
know. It's just like a certain type. It's always a certain type of movie that wins an Oscar. Like it's got to
Yeah.
be, artsy,
Yeah.
something small budget. It was made for $500,000, but the story of a young boy who,
Yeah.
something like that. Like it's always like
Something
instead
that
of,
pushes a narrative.
yeah,
Something that pushes a narrative, right?
like
Um
you don't see. I mean, look, Black Panther at least got nominated.
I think
Um, Finally,
it was
Heath
for Best
Ledger won for
Picture.
one. I think that was like the comic book one that finally like kind of broke through was Dark Knight.
Yeah, Black Panther won one. Actually, I think it was for Best Costumes, I believe. And
Something like,
I think it
yeah,
was nominated for Best Picture as well.
yeah, it was
Um,
nominated. I know it didn't win.
yeah. So I'm actually trying to look up what they were kind of the awards list right now for Black Panther. I was just curious.
I think it was
But yeah,
costume and set design.
huh? Yeah, it's costume set
Costume and
design.
set design. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Um, so yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, nominated for for best picture. Was nominated for best picture, but yeah, I think they won for costume for sure. And I don't know, I'm not sure. I need to look at set design for that one. So yeah, no, like the award show is like a mess. Like
Yeah.
Eminem hates it. I was watching an Eminem like video on how he hates the Grammys, and he's don't ever invite me to the Grammys again because it's all about like your narrative and XYZ and not about like this and you know Like fuck the Grammys.
Yeah, I mean,
And he's kind of right. So with this too. Like I used to kind of believe in it, but I was like after kind of learning about like what they do to like even get nominated and like just kind of this elitist mentality like that they have is kind of messed up. So yeah. What's your thoughts on that? So yeah. Yeah, no. I think we did pretty good today. So right at an hour, hit a lot of topics.
and some
Um
change. Yep.
and some change landed on the Oscars, which I am definitely not watching. Um yeah,
I'm actually right now rewatching Silicon Valley.
really.
Um,
I never got
I
into that
had,
one.
I think I watched like the first 3 seasons, maybe, but if for whatever reason I fell off, I don't know. I
Yeah,
was like, let me go back. This is actually a really funny show, and obviously
really.
being like systems engineer or software engineer, like you're really gonna enjoy like some of the references that they make in the show,
Yeah.
especially with his theory for like file compression and all that, like why what he did seemed to work. I was like, I remember learning about this stuff.
Yeah.
So
No, that's what's up. What was I gonna tell you? I actually watched a couple movies this weekend. Just kind of just randomly, didn't even plan for it. I watched Ready Player One again.
oh, love that.
Um, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. So I watched that
We
movie.
watched the Tomorrow. Seen that with Chris Pratt on I think it's
That's an
Amazon.
Amazon movie, right? Yeah, I haven't watched that
Yeah,
one. Is it good?
it's good, man.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be like a remember that Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow where he was
Yeah.
kind of like in a time loop.
I actually
I
really
thought it
like
was
that
going I thought it was going to be a rip off of that, but it's different. I mean, it's still an
movie.
alien invasion, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was good. Me and the wife were like, we were like, okay, yeah,
Okay.
good.
Cool. I might check that out. Oh, J.K. Simmons is in it. I love J.K. Simmons. He's
Yeah,
hilarious. Well, not hilarious. He's just a great actor.
yes,
So yeah, I
yes.
might check that. I also watched like Life of Pi. Uh, like
I watched that a long time ago. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know why. I was just on HBO Max today and I just landed on it. I just started watching it. And I mean, I didn't watch it like from end to end. I was kind of like skipping through parts of it, right?
yeah.
There was one part where like the guy was an idiot, or where like like the woman made it like a clear like sex like reference. Well, it's not a sex reference, but she was talking about the flower hiding in the forest. And he goes, "Where would a lotus flower hide in the forest?" And the woman was like, and then the girls was like, "He doesn't get it." I was like, bro.
Oh my god, slow, slow, slow,
Yeah.
slow.
It's like I mean, this is Indian culture, and it's like I'm not. I mean, obviously, I'm not Indian, but I get that reference. But yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. I liked it better the second time I watched it. It was a long time ago, so yeah. I'm checking out my new OLED TV, so like
Oh, that's right, that's right.
better experience now. Okay, well, it is Sunday. Actually, I was supposed to have jury duty tomorrow, right?
Ooh,
But I got the email a couple like I think yesterday or a couple days ago saying that it's off, like I don't have to show up. So I'm like, yes.
lucky.
So, yeah, so I already took time off of work, so I'm just gonna use it for something else. So I need to go to the DMV. I've been delaying that forever. So I need to go to the DMV, um, get all that done. So
Still horrible in 2022.
it does suck, and I need to. And even though I'm a technologist, like I still don't use the technology aspects of it, like setting an appointment online for some reason. I prefer just going in like myself and like
Wow.
being there.
I do everything I can with the DMV online until like there's
Yeah.
absolutely positively no other option but to go
Yeah,
in. Like,
that's true. I mean, I think I tried setting an appointment online like last year, and it just was like, especially in the Arlington area, it's like 2 months out. And I was like, this is
damn.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's like this is ridiculous. And I think the only appointment that I had like that was next day was in like 4 hours away in the DMV in like way South Virginia, which is just annoying. So no, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I may try to get a new license because I don't think mine is expiring anytime soon, but I know Virginia has like new licenses.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. The
yeah,
freaking
yeah.
style B or
Yeah,
license.
so I need to probably try to get that done. I tried going to
Real ID, real ID.
yeah, I need to go to I tried going to Express, um, whatchamacallit, DMV as well. And like they were closed during like the pandemic. So hopefully they're open now. So I might just go there and like, get what I gotta get and move on. So we'll see. We'll see. I just take some time tomorrow for myself, enjoy myself, you
Do it,
know.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, happy about that. All right. Well, let's call it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting us for all this time. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
All right.